successful game.
All right. And we're back.
We are back. 3, 2, 1, action. Greetings, my friendly acquaintances. Welcome to Fire Your Boss, Season 2. My name is George Bruno, and I'm with my illustrious co-host. That's the only word that I can use. Gentlemen, introduce yourselves.
Well, I believe I am Frank Garin. That's what it says on the name tag anyway. And I am proud to be one of the 3 amigos in the now legendary Fire Your Boss podcast. So you guys make it easy.
Lover boy Garrett, as I'm reading on the teleprompter here. I'm, of course, Jonesy, Dan Jones, the multipreneur marketer. And we didn't dive into last episode exactly what we were doing in the off season. And I know we're all wearing sweatshirts right now, so it's hard to tell. But this is what we were up to, listener and watcher. We were really working on ourselves. They
Putting in the work, man.
Putting in the work.
That's it.
Oh,
Podcast had to take second seat for a while. It feels so good to be Jack.
I'm actually getting inspired by AI now.
Oh, I'm getting something. All right, so George, take us through that prompt. So we do talk about AI a lot and prompt engineering, and this is I think for the amount of time we put into it is pretty good output.
You know what? The prompt was this. I uploaded our 3 pictures that we use in our marketing and promotion, and I said, make us 3 professional bodybuilders, and do it Americana style. So it comes up with a flag in the back. There's like a barn, so that's very kind of like down home, blue collar American. And I don't know what's behind Frank there. Is that like a tractor or something? But
Chevy pickup. I'm willing to bet.
It's a Chevy, probably done with Plastidip, most likely.
If it knows anything about us, then yeah, it would be Plastidip or vinyl wrap, I'm sure.
Right.
Crazy.
So there it is. That's there's a little off-season AI.
You cannot unsee that
implementation of a meme. All right. And that's the topic of today's episode, is the minimum viable mindset. Google it. I don't know if I created it or not. I talk about it sometimes in marketing. You gentlemen actually saw a talk I did on AI in spring of 2025, which mentions this and how we use AI to come up with it. But traditionally, the minimum viable product is the first iteration, literally, of a product or even service, a productized service that one can put to market to test out the market viability. It's used a lot in SaaS, the software as a service, like software subscriptions and tools and stuff like that. In the first iteration that an alpha or beta tester can use. I've adopted it, and so have we, into a way where anything, launching the business, planning the business, getting your first customer, your first campaign, your first offer is a minimum viable implementation to test, iterate, and hopefully monetize. And if not, then to kill it quickly and restart. The key point being not to get so hung up on perfection as to stymie your progress.
I have people that are afraid to put anything out there because it's not perfect. And I'm like, the first thing is, I hate to say it, nobody's watching anyway until you get some traction. So you might as well get some practice. B, you might as well screw up while your audience is small. And C, how bad can you really be? Like, what is the earth going to cave in and swallow you whole because you suck so bad? No, you have to, man. When I first started the internet stuff, I was doing network marketing, right? And I had a script, and I would stand up like this, wanting to throw up in my mouth here. I'd be like, "Hi, Joe. This is Frank Aaron." But and you know what? 6 months later, I'm like this. Hey, it's Frank Aaron. How are you? What can I do for you? You answered one of my ads. Tell me about what you're looking for. I mean, I just did. I'm nobody special. The only thing is I keep showing up. August will be 30 years full time on the internet. 30 years. But I just keep showing up. That's all I do. Keep showing up, and good stuff follows, good opportunities follow. And I think you make your own luck, and minimum viable product is certainly one of those things that has served me well. You get your stuff up, you get it out there, you get feedback, and then you improve it.
I have sold things on gumroad.com, which is a great platform to release digital products. I think my first product was something like 10 helpful rules for recovering from divorce. And I sold it for 99 cents. Like, that's less than a cup of coffee, and it sold like crazy. And I was so happy with the first sale. And the only thing I regret is not having that dollar bill taped, to the wall above the cash register like they have in barbershops and pizza shops.
Yeah.
And I guess that's the downside of making digital dollars, even though that's how we pay our bills. There is something nice about having the greenbacks in your hand. And I don't know, do businesses even put that dollar up on the wall anymore? I haven't seen it in years.
I still see it in some local businesses. You'll see it in like restaurants, bars, those type of places will still do that. But typically owned by somebody who's, a geriatric millennial like myself or older.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because you're right. The appeal of your 99 cents Gumroad transaction, in which Gumroad takes 10% and Stripe takes another 3% for processing. Now you're down to 87.3 cents first sale transaction. Doesn't look quite as glamorous. It's like 80% of a dollar bill through a wall.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, there you go.
But it's still the first victory. And that's the positive feedback. So George, being a men's coach and counselor and divorce coach for years and years and years, you talk a lot about stuck and getting unstuck. What would what have you come across that sticks out in your mind, like a common factor of people getting stuck in personal life, which would carry over to this? And why does it happen? What's a common theme you see happen as to why people get stuck in launching?
Yeah, it's funny. I've always said that action cures fear. That's the only way through. And I've always thought that we need courage. And you get courage by doing stuff that scares the shit out of you. And then at the other end of that comes courage. But I will tell people this, that the thought of doing it, whatever that thing is, the thought of it is more intimidating and fearful than actually doing it. Once you're in the midst of it, and when you're done with it, you're like, hey, that was pretty easy. But all the fear that and apprehension that you have before you do it plays tricks on your head. Because you're so used to going to a job and punching a time clock or signing a timesheet and having a boss that when you are your own boss, it's scary. It's like jumping out of a plane with a parachute that you don't even know is going to open. That's how I look at it. So it is kind of a leap of faith, so to speak. And most people will find that once they make their first move, they're going to think to themselves, hey, that wasn't that bad. And once you start stacking the wins, that's how I kind of say it, stack the wins, it gets easier and easier and easier.
So you're talking about feeling safe in the position you're at, which we talked about in episode 29 is fake anyway. And we may have also broached that in our new book in chapter 3, Fire Your Boss, the book. In that it feels safe, it's really not, and that it's like a muscle. You can't get strong without breaking some muscle fibers, and that's really what courage is.
That's true.
Let's say you.
You guys just saw the audience. You guys just saw the picture of the three of us all jacked and working out. You think that came easy? Look at that. That takes some time, man.
It does.
That was at least 3 rounds of prompt engineering.
That's funny.
But the thing is, your first sale is going to be your hardest sale. That's the way I see it. That's what I teach. First sale might just about kill you, but if you do it once, you can do it twice. You do it 2 times, you do it 4 times. It's exponential. I think we're so conditioned to believe, number one, that we have to know everything and everything has to be perfect to be successful in any business or in anything, that we get almost afraid to try because we have all this pressure that we put on ourselves, real or imagined. I mean, look, you screw up your first ebook. What are the ebook police going to come to your house and arrest you for writing an ebook that wasn't so great? You take the feedback and you go, hey, I did it. Now, how can I do it better next time?
Right.
Duh. I mean, I can remember when I drove tractor and trailer, the first time I went to truck driving school, I looked at this truck and the ladder was 25 feet into the cab. And I looked back at the trailer and it was another 100 feet tall. I said, oh my God, how am I going to move this thing out of the parking lot? Never mind drive it down the highway. A year later, I'm cruising down the highway, radio cranked, eating my salad while I'm driving. I got the AC on, tinted windows. I'm shucking and jiving down Route 78, bipping and bopping. And, you know, it was like driving a big car. Matter of fact, I love my Mac. I get very emotional when I think about that truck. Please give me a second.
Let's all have a moment of silence for the Mac.
Mac, PJAX Trucking, Mac CH model 737. That thing, I'll tell you what, drove nicer than any car I ever had. But my point was, I have, thanks to you, I've got Shiner Bach in my fridge anytime I want it. And thank you again for that. But yeah, the point was, when I looked at that thing, it was this tall and that far back. What if I never got into that truck that first time and stalled ladder? What if I never moved it down the road one time and accidentally, like, I don't know, bumped the curb or turned too tight or whatever? How the hell are you supposed to get better if you don't start? And that's the thing. People want to start perfectly. There's no such thing as a perfect start. There's no way. You can't show me anybody that does their first thing perfectly.
And that's with like real world danger and training and implications and consequences. Most of what we're doing and what we encourage people to do is their side gigs has like zero actual physical harm or consequences in this. It's 99.9% mental. The
Sure.
robots doing ourselves.
I could have hit a bridge. I could have stalled out in traffic with a big 18-wheeler coming up on me. You know,
this is why I like the ebook analogy. Is what are the ebook police going to come after you? No. Worst thing that happens is it goes viral in a bad way, and you can still leverage that because now you've got an audience, and we know if you have the audience, you can leverage that for creating solutions and services and monetize it, or nobody sees it. Oh well. I gotta remember who I read that taught me this or whatever. You want to be embarrassed by your first product like a year later because that means that you're on a constant quest for improvement and refinement. And I just love that. So now I'm like, launch something. I hope like revision 3 of the Fire Your Boss book puts this one to shame. I really do. I'm insanely proud of my first book, but at the same time, I can't wait for the third edition of this to completely blow away the first copy.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, it reminds me, does everyone remember that Milton Bradley game called Operation, where you're removing like those little bones or body parts from this figure, and if you touch the sides of it, it there's a buzzer that goes off and a light that flashes, and there's going to be a lot of buzzers and lights flashing when you first start trying to do your thing. And I was thinking about how frustrated I was as a young boy when I went from clip-on ties to tying a tie. And it was like climbing Mount Everest. Now I can tie a tie in the dark. I don't need to, I just by feel, it's like the muscle memory is there. Although I haven't wore a tie in years. I just haven't put on a tie. And but I can still tie a tie, even though I haven't wore a tie in years, and I still have a rack with a bunch of ties on it. And I think what happens is once you build the muscle memory of earning your first dollar from your first product, whether it be a digital product or a machined product or a drop shipped product or whatever, you get the muscle memory, and then it's basically, as they say, wash, rinse, and repeat.
And what Frank said as well, to tie into wash, rinse, repeat, is that you do it once, you can do it again. You have to do it again. Once can be a fluke. That's why there's one hit wonders and one offs. And, you do it 2 or 3 times. Now you've shown that there is somebody who's willing to pay you for this and that there's a pattern that exists. Identify that pattern, optimize it, cut out the crap that doesn't work, A/B test, and then replicate said process. And that's where you create your next iteration of your product.
I was talking to someone today about the band that did the song The Macarena. Now, of course, they're all multimillionaires. I don't even think they did a second song because they don't have to. It was a hit, and it was played in every club, every wedding, every whatever. That song was like a big deal back in the day, whatever. And I was talking to a guy today, if you can write a song that somebody does a dance to, and that dance gets done, line dance or whatever gets done in every club, every bar, every wedding, everywhere, you never have to work a day in your life. But that's what we all aim for. It's kind of like a hit. But until then, it's like playing darts in the dark. You just keep shooting the darts, or as they say, throwing enough spaghetti against the wall and hoping that some sticks.
That, my friends, is a spicy meatball.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. Frank, final thoughts before we take off and get into the next episode.
Just do it. Even if you fail falling forward, it works. Because by that, what I mean is you're walking, you trip. As long as you land even an inch further than you were a minute ago, you still made progress. And that's how it's going to feel sometimes in the beginning. Big deal. I mean, outside of winning the lottery, this entrepreneurship stuff is the best thing I've ever seen for providing for one's finances as well as one's emotional freedom as well, which we could talk a whole episode about. What does it mean to be free? What does it mean to not have a boss?
I'm writing that down for future show notes.
Oh, you are so sweet, Jonesy. Thank you.
It's good. That's a
George,
good one.
final thoughts.
Final thoughts are, I will echo Frank and say, just do it. Don't wait for conditions to be perfect because you'll never start. Just start.
And I will add to that and say, people aren't buying your product, they're buying a solution, and that solution doesn't have to be packaged perfectly the first time around.
It just has to work.
And that's it. Fare thee well, my friends. We'll see you on the next episode of Fire Your Boss.
Gonna rise above, start my own successful game.